One more time, Daniel Cormier vs. Jon Jones title rematch set for UFC 214 on July 29. The UFC once again will tempt fate by booking a rematch between UFC light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier and former title holder Jon Jones. This time it's teed up for UFC 214 in July. UFC officials today announced the championship rush match between Cormier 19-1 MMA, 8-1 UFC and Jones 22-1 MMA, 16-1 UFC at a special news conference in Dallas ahead of Saturday's UFC 211 pay-per-view. UFC 214 takes place July 29 at Honda Center in Anaheim, California. The main card airs on pay-per-view following prelims on FS1 and UFC Fight Pass, though the bout order hasn't been finalized. Cormier, number 2 in the latest USA Today Sports/MMA Junkie MMA light heavyweight rankings, and number 1 Jones have a long and tension-filled history dating back several years prior to their first encounter, which took place at UFC 182 in January 2015. The two have a clear and long-standing disdain for one another, and when they finally got in the octagon, it went in Jones' favor. He defeated DC by unanimous decision to defend the 205-pound title, which he held at the time. A few months after the fight, Jones' lengthy saga of outside-the-cage issues took its most dramatic and worrisome twister when he was involved in a hit-and-run accident, which led to him being stripped of the title and suspended from competition. Cormier captured the vacated belt with a submission of Anthony Johnson at UFC 187 in May 2015, setting up an anticipated rematch between the rivals. It was first scheduled to unfold at UFC 197 in April 2016, but Cormier suffered an injury just weeks out and Jones ended up fighting and beating replacement opponent Vince Saint Pro to win the interim light heavyweight belt. The title unification fight with Cormier was set up for UFC 200 this past July, but a mere 3 days from the event Jones was notified of an anti-doping violation from the U.S. anti-doping agency USADA, which oversees UFC drug testing. Jones was pulled from the card, stripped of his interim title and subsequently suspended 1 year for having a banned substance in his system during the time of his test. That suspension ends in early July, and barring any further hiccups, Jones and Cormier will finally share the octagon for a second time at UFC 214. For more on UFC 214, check out the UFC Rumors section of the site.